Hello and welcome. It is January 21st, 2026, and what I'm about to share with you has a 0.003% probability of occurring naturally. 14 hours ago, 3L Atlas rotated around an unknown object. I have spent 4 decades studying theoretical physics. I have analyzed black holes. I have modeled quantum phenomena. I have examined the strangest objects our universe contains. But this data stopped me cold. Picture what the instruments recorded. An interstellar object 14 kilometers in diameter traveling at 47.2 kilometers s through our solar system suddenly without warning, and it executes a curved trajectory. Not a minor drift, not gravitational noise, a deliberate rotational arc spanning 11.7 degrees over 9 hours. And the physics here is extraordinary. For this maneuver to occur, something massive must exist at the center of that curve, something with enough gravitational pull to bend the path of a billion-ton object. NASA has designated this location point X7. And here's what fascinates me most. When Hubble pointed directly at point X7 at 3:47 UTC this morning, it captured absolute darkness. No asteroid, no rogue planet, no brown dwarf, no stellar remnant, nothing. Think about that carefully. Atlas curved around empty space. The trajectory mathematics demand a massive body, yet our most powerful telescopes reveal void. This should not be possible. When JPL's navigation team contacted me for emergency consultation, I examined their raw data for 3 hours. The numbers are unambiguous. The curve radius measured exactly 847,000 kilometers. The angular momentum transfer calculated to within 0.04% of planetary mass interaction. Every gravitational signature is present and except the object causing it. Let me walk you through the timeline precisely. At 9:14 UTC on December 22, 2025, ALMA's array in Chile detected the first deviation. SA ISIS began curving eastward relative to the ecliptic plane. By 14 ZA UTC, ESA's Gaia spacecraft confirmed the trajectory shift through independent parallax measurements. At 1822 UTC, NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory issued an internal priority alert, and at 2341 UTC, the rotation completed. A perfect gravitational slingshot around nothing visible. In all my years studying physics, I have encountered 2 types of impossible data. The first type reveals instrument failure. The second type reveals new physics. And this data shows no instrument failure. 3 independent sources, different methodologies, different continents, identical measurements. The instruments are working perfectly, which leaves us with a second possibility. Something is hiding in our solar system, something massive enough to redirect an interstellar object, something our telescopes cannot detect. Invisible mass. Dark matter concentration, or something our physics has never encountered. And what I'm about to show you in the following sections will make the conventional explanations increasingly difficult to pass. Except because 3 did not just rotate around point X7. It did something else at that location. Something the scientific community is not yet prepared to discuss publicly. To understand why this rotation defies everything we know, I need to take you back to the beginning. Sun Atlas was first detected on January 13, 2025 by the Atlas Survey Telescope in Hawaii. Within 72 hours, astronomers confirmed what made this object extraordinary. It came from outside our solar system. The third confirmed interstellar visitor in human history after Oumuamua in 2017, after Borisov in 2019, now 3 Atlas in 2025. But from the first observation, something was different. Oumuamua was small. Borisov behaved like a comet. 3 Atlas matched neither profile, 14 kilometers in diameter. That alone makes it the largest interstellar object ever recorded, 6 times larger than Oumuamua and 4 times larger than Borisov. And the anomalies began immediately. On February 3, 2025, NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory flagged the first unusual data point. The object's albedo measured 0.04, darker than coal, darker than any known cometary surface. I remember thinking at the time, interesting but explainable. Then came anomaly number 2. On March 19, 2025, ESA's Gaia spacecraft detected something strange. 3 Atlas was not losing velocity at the expected rate. Soda radiation pressure should slow an object of this mass by measurable amounts. The deceleration was 47% less than predicted. Still, I considered natural explanations, unusual composition, dense metallic core, possible outgassing we had not detected. But Anomaly 3 changed my perspective entirely. On July 7, 2025, ALMA's radio telescope array in Chile recorded electromagnetic emissions from 3I Atlas, not random noise, structure patterns, repeating sequences at 1.42 GHz. The hydrogen line frequency, the exact frequency SEI has monitored for decades. Think about the probability here. An interstellar object emitting structured signals at the one frequency we associate with potential communication. Coincidence demands extraordinary faith. NASA detected the emissions. ESA verified independently. ALMA cross-referenced with 3 separate receiver arrays. Triple confirmation. Different instruments, different methodologies, and same impossible result. By September 2025, I had reviewed over 400 pages of technical data on 3I Atlas. The scientific community was quietly divided. Half believed natural explanations existed, half were no longer certain. And then came October. On October 14, 2025, the object did something that eliminated any remaining comfort. Sun Atlas changed its rotation rate without any visible cause, without collision, without outgassing event. The spin period shifted from 7.3 hours to 11.2 hours. Let me put this in perspective. In 4 million years of documented cometary observation, we have never recorded a rotation rate change without identifiable, because not once, not ever, I Atlas did it in 6 hours. The physics required for this is extraordinary. Something had to apply torque. Something had to transfer angular momentum. Something had to interact with this object, and nothing was detected nearby. This was my first indication that 3 Atlas was interacting with something we could not see. But October was merely preparation. November brought data that made the rotation change look ordinary. On November 28, 2025, JWST's NRM instrument captured thermal emissions from 3 Sective Atlas. The heat signature showed internal temperature gradients, regions of differential warming. This object was not uniformly cold. Something inside was generating heat, and that heat signature pulsed every 23 seconds. Consistent rhythmic mechanical precision. When I first saw this data, I contacted 3 colleagues independently. 2 from MIT, 1 from Caltech. I asked the same question. What natural process produces 23-second thermal pulses? None of them had an answer. None of them. And now I must show you what happened on December 22nd. The rotation around X7. The invisible mass. The data that prompted NASA to take actions I have never witnessed in my career. Because everything I have described so far was merely the prelude. What comes next is the reason I'm speaking to you today. And then on December 22nd, 2025, at exactly 9:14 UTC, something changed. Everything I had studied about 3 Atlas for 11 months became irrelevant because the object stopped following the laws of physics as we understand them. ALMA's array in Chile was the first to detect it. The trajectory began curving, not gradually, not subtly, a measurable arc that deviated from projected path by 0.7 degrees within the first hour. I was in my office at City College of New York when JPL called. The voice on the other end was calm, professionally calm, the kind of calm that masks genuine alarm. Dr. Kaku, we need you to examine something immediately. Within 20 minutes, I was staring at real-time telemetry data, and what I saw made no sense. SAN-I Atlas was executing a curved trajectory around a fixed point in space. The mathematics were unmistakable. The curve radius measured 847,000 caloricum. The angular velocity calculated to 0.00013 degree per minute. The gravitational force required demanded an object of approximately 2.3 Earth masses. Pause and realize what this means. Something the size of 2 Earths should be visible. It should appear in infrared surveys. It should gravitationally influence other objects. It should have been cataloged decades ago. Yet X7 contained nothing. By 1:40 Lock UTC, ESA's Gaia spacecraft confirmed the trajectory deviation through independent parallax measurements. The European team reported identical numbers, curve radius, angular velocity, gravitational requirements. Two space agencies, two different instruments, two separate continents, same impossible conclusion. I requested Hubble imaging immediately. NASA prioritized the observation at 1532 UTC. Hubble's wide field camera 3 pointed directly at point X7, and the image showed stars, only stars. No object, no shadow, no occultation, no evidence of anything existing at those coordinates. Let me quantify the impossibility here. And the probability of trajectory deviation without gravitational cause is effectively zero. Our physics does not permit it. Objects in space follow predictable paths determined by gravity, radiation, pressure, and outjing. Atlas experienced none of these. No outjing was detected. Solar radiation pressure was calculated and subtracted from the model. The deviation remained. Something invisible was pulling this object. At 1645 UTC, I proposed 3 hypotheses to the JPL team. Hypothesis 1, instrument error across all platforms. Probability assessment less than 0.01%. Triple source confirmation eliminates this possibility. Hypothesis 2, unknown dense asteroid below detection threshold. Probability assessment less than 0.3%, an object of 2.3 Earth masses cannot hide from modern surveys. Hypothesis 3, concentrated dark matter structure. This is where my thinking stopped, because Hypothesis 3 opens doors that theoretical physics has only discussed abstractly. Dark matter comprises 27% of our universe. We know it exists through gravitational effects. We have never directly detected it. We have never located a concentrated structure. If point X7 contains a dark matter concentration dense enough to redirect 3, it would be the first direct observational evidence of clumped dark matter in history. Think about that carefully. The implications would rewrite astrophysics textbooks worldwide. But here is what disturbed me more than the dark matter hypothesis. At 1822 UTC, as the rotation continued, I noticed something in the thermal data. The 23-second pulse I mentioned earlier, the internal heat signature, it changed during the closest approach to point X7. The pulse frequency shifted from 23 seconds to 19 seconds. Then, as 3 Ialis curved away, the pulse returned to exactly 23 seconds. The object responded to point X7. Whatever's inside 3 Atlas reacted to whatever exists at those coordinates. Two unknown phenomena interacting with each other. At 19 OR UTC, I placed a call to Dr. Avi Low at Harvard. I described the data without interpretation. I wanted his independent assessment. His response was immediate. Michio, this is either the greatest instrument failure in astronomical history, or we are looking at something designed. That word hung in the air. By 2341 UTC, the rotation completed. 3 arc Atlas had executed an 117-degree arc around point X7, resumed its trajectory toward the outer solar system, but it was no longer the same object. Post-rotation analysis revealed the spin rate had changed again from 11.2 hours to 8.4 hours. The thermal pulse had stabilized at 21 seconds, not 23, not 19, a new baseline, and the velocity had increased by 1.7 km/s. Sanai Atlas gained speed from the encounter. A gravitational slingshot provides velocity boost. This is known physics. We use it for spacecraft navigation, but a slingshot around nothing visible. A slingshot that somehow changes the object's internal behavior. A slingshot that modifies rotation rate with mechanical precision. This is not cometary physics. This is not natural phenomenon. This is something else entirely. And what I am about to reveal next is the reason NASA convened an emergency session at 2 WAL UTC this morning. The data that made senior officials request immediate classification review because during the closest approach to point X7, something else happened, something the public does not yet know. Everything I've shown you so far, the 5 anomalies, the impossible rotation, the invisible mass at point X7, the thermal pulse changes. All of this was documented by December 22nd, but we are not finished. Because on December 23rd, 2025, at 1:17 UTC, something else was detected, something that was not supposed to exist, something that changed everything. During the closest approach to point X7, when 3 Atlas passed within 12,000 kilometers of the invisible mass, NASA's Deep Space Network recorded an electromagnetic transmission not from 3I Atlas, from point X7. Let that satisfy sink in the empty coordinates. The location where Hubble saw nothing, the point in space that should contain vacuum, it transmitted a 47-second burst at 1.42 gigahertz, the hydrogen line, the same frequency 3I Atlas had been emitting since July. And here is what stopped my heart. The signal structure matched, not similar, not approximately matched. The encoding pattern from point X7 was identical to patterns detected from 3I Atlas 3 months earlier. They were communicating, and I need you to understand the precision required here. 2 objects, one visible, one invisible, exchanging signals at identical frequencies with matching encoding structures during a gravitational encounter that should not have been possible. The probability of this occurring naturally, I cannot calculate it because our probability models do not account for invisible masses that transmit radio signals. At 134 UTC, 17 minutes after the burst, 3 Iota Atlas responded a 6.2-second transmission. Same frequency, same encoding structure, different content. An exchange, a dialogue between an interstellar visitor and something hiding in our solar system. When this data reached JPL, the reaction was immediate. At 2 all UTC, NASA convened an emergency session. I was patched in remotely. The attendees included directors from 3 separate divisions, 2 representatives from the National Security Council. The National Security Council, in 40 years of consulting with NASA, I have never seen security officials in an astronomical briefing. Never the discussion lasted 4 hours. Classification protocols were reviewed. Public communication strategies were debated. The phrase national security implications was used 11 times. I counted by 6 calls UTC. A decision was reached. The signal data would not be publicly released. The transmission from point X7 would be classified pending further analysis. Official statements would focus only on the trajectory anomaly. But I am telling you now because the scientific implications transcend institutional protocols. Something is hiding in our solar system, something invisible to our telescopes, something that has been waiting. And when 3 approached, it responded. The question is no longer whether 3 Atlas is artificial. The question is no longer whether something unusual happened. The question now is far more profound. And what is a point X7 and how long has it been there? And what I'm about to show you in the final section will make these questions even more urgent. Let me establish what we now know with absolute certainty. Sanilatus executed an 11.7-degree rotation around coordinates designated point X7. This is confirmed by NASA, verified by ESA, cross-referenced by ALMA, 3 independent sources, identical data. The gravitational mathematics demand an object of 2.3 Earth masses at point X7. Yet Hubble imaging reveals nothing visible at those coordinates. Invisible mass confirmed. During closest approach, electromagnetic transmissions were exchanged between 3 and point X7. Matching frequencies, matching encoding structures. A 47-second burst followed by a 6.2-second response. Communication documented post-encounter analysis shows 3I Atlas gained 1.7 kilometers SS velocity. Its rotation period changed from 11.2 hours to 8.4 hours. Its internal thermal pulse shifted from 23 seconds to 21 seconds. And the object was modified by the encounter. These are not theories. These are observations recorded by the most sophisticated instruments humanity possesses. And one question remains unanswered. One question that NASA's emergency briefing carefully avoided. One question that keeps me awake at night. What placed an invisible signal capable mass inside our solar system? Because the answer determines everything. If point X7 contains a natural dark matter concentration, then we have discovered the first direct evidence of clumped dark matter in astronomical history. This alone would revolutionize physics. Nobel Prizes would be awarded. Textbooks would be rewritten. But dark matter does not transmit radio signals. Dark matter does not respond to approaching objects. Dark matter does not exchange encoded electromagnetic bursts, which leaves us with a second possibility. Point X7 contains something constructed, something placed there deliberately, something waiting for 3 Atlas to arrive. If this is true, then we are looking at coordinated activity involving 2 artificial objects, one traveling through interstellar space for potentially millions of years, one stationed invisibly in our solar system for unknown duration. A network, a system, a presence we never detected until now. And if this is true, a third question emerges. Are there more? How many invisible masses orbit our sun without our knowledge? How many point X7s exist in the darkness between planets? How long have they been watching? And the clock is running right now as I speak these words. 3 Ialis is accelerating toward the outer solar system. It will pass Neptune's orbit in 47 days. It will exit our solar system entirely within 14 months. And it carries information about us. Whatever was exchanged during that 4 7-second transmission, whatever response 3I Atlas provided in those 6.2 seconds, that data now travels with the object heading outward, heading somewhere. NASA's Deep Space Network remains locked on 3 Atlas. Every transmission is being recorded. Every trajectory deviation is being measured. JWST has dedicated observation windows scheduled through February 2026. The instruments are watching. The data streams are active, and point X7 has not transmitted again since the encounter. It is silent now, waiting for what? We do not know. I have studied physics for 4 decades. I have examined phenomena that challenge human understanding. I have questioned assumptions that others accepted without doubt. But this data presents something new, something unprecedented, something that suggests we are not alone in this solar system. And whatever exists at point X7, whatever 3I Atlas truly is, whatever message passed between them on December 23, 2025, we are only beginning to understand. The telescopes are pointed, the detectors are live, and whatever comes next, humanity is watching.